Welcome back to Matchday Live. So that is half-time in the game between City versus Chelsea, and that is 0-0 at half-time. None of the last 12 Premier League matches between City and Chelsea have ended a draw. And the last 0-0 draw we had with Chelsea was 2005. I forgot the stat there, Nedum. I forgot the stat. That's a lesson.
That's a sign in itself, there.
So, I really enjoyed that first half. I'm going to get the opinions now of Stephen McInerney and Nedum and who's still with me in the studio. Nedum, what did you make of the first half?
Yeah, it was very tactical. It was very, very tactical. But I liked it because I think for City, the fact that they've gone to Stamford Bridge against the team that are getting called the best in the league, had 70% possession almost, had more shots, and then limited Chelsea to one shot on goal, which wasn't really like a big chance as well. You know, you've got to say that it seems like they're controlling the game, but you know, you still have to be fair to Chelsea. You know that they always still have that threat. But I think overall City have dealt well with some of those opportunities where something could happen. But it's just about continuing that and just finding that bit extra. But, yeah, in terms of watching City away from home against such a good side, yes, it feels good.
Yeah, did you enjoy watching that first half?
City are the better side, and I don't think that's even me saying that we're in this blue shirt. I think it's a genuinely true thing. I mean, I've been a little bit surprised how submissive Chelsea have been, really. They have genuinely just sat back and essentially aimed for Werner and Lukaku in the channels. And I guess when you've got that pace and physicality there, which those two have, it makes a lot of sense. But genuinely, it's been City's game. And I think that's because City have played well. It's not because Chelsea have been that defensive. But City, honestly, I think Rodri's been really impressive. He's winning everything in midfield. You can tell the players are massively up for it as well, as we discussed, obviously, prior to the game kicking off. We haven't created that chance yet, but it's really hard when you're trying to play against the likes of Christensen and obviously, Rudiger, Paqueta, the very experienced players with a lot of quality, and Chelsea are happy just to essentially frustrate Man City. But I've seen a lot of reasons to be really, really positive because this doesn't look any different in terms of the way we're moving the ball, the quality, than the City sides that we've seen winning the league, the last few years. And I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I guess the point I'm making, we're still controlling games in that same exact way. So, a lot of panic buttons have been pressed recently from many corners of the world, be it fans or whatever, or maybe some of the press. But seeing that today, and that's a good City side playing really well against the champions of Europe. So, and they've been the better team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a really enjoyable first half. At no point have I felt like nervous or just being able to sit and watch and enjoy the football. Where is the goal going to come from, though, Nedum? What do you think in the second half? How will we kind of break that deadlock?
I think they've created a few sort of half chances, but it's just about being clinical, making the right sort of decisions, making the right runs. I think there was a point where I think it might have been KDB got down the left-hand side and cut a ball back. And it was towards maybe the penalty spot, but if that goes across the 6-yard box, and I think they've got two City players waiting there. So if it's a case of that ball coming in again, then maybe somebody knowing that that's where it's going to be. So the way that football works, you just have to try and tweak certain things. And you never know exactly how a goal is going to be scored. But it's football, and there's a tendency for goals to be scored anyway. So, we don't know how it's going to come. But, with the quality of players that are on that field, I'd be surprised, but I'm not going to die on this hill. I'd be surprised if it finished 0-0.
Oh, I like that. In terms of little tweaks, we've had 3 or 4 corners we were talking about that have gone pretty much straight into the hands of Mendy, given how sort of, as you were saying, how tall and how dominant he is.
Yeah,
massive.
He's 6'6" goalkeeper with extremely long arms, so there's a bit of just air just up here, which has only been touched by one man. So it's very hard to get a ball essentially across the first man at the near post that isn't going to be of a threat to him, but. I think they understand that. I think they'll try and tweak that in the second half. And the beauty of the City team and the squad and the manager and all that stuff is that, they react to the mistakes. If things aren't going well, they're not going to continually try and do it because they just believe it's going to work. They're not insane. So I imagine there'll be some sort of tweak and there might be a special set piece in the second half for us.
And we talked about Kevin De Bruyne and Rudiger. I was hoping there might be a Kevin De Bruyne crunching tackle. There hasn't been as yet, but we did see Bernardo Silva sticking up for his friend.
Bernardo's always got a little bit of needle. I like that from a player. I'd be exactly the same if I was out on the pitch. But Bernardo, he's the exact kind of person you want on your side in a game like this because there is a little bit, he's got a little bit of spark to him, which is, I think, is appreciated. And, he works exceptionally hard. And it shouldn't be everything in football, but in games like this, when you've got that much quality, it does come down to war of attrition sometimes, and whoever's willing to run a little bit harder. And Bernardo's been fantastic. It's just, it's just so tough in there. It's so tight. There's so little space, and I wouldn't even say as well we're not exactly being sloppy on the ball, but working it to those areas really well. But every time they feed it into Foden or Jesus, someone's right up against them always, and it's because they're that well drilled, and it's going to be a mistake, unfortunately, or a moment of brilliance that separates this game, I reckon. It's going to be either someone pings one in for 20 yards, or do you know when someone shoots and the ball deflects and it just runs loose to someone, there's not much you can do about it. It's going to be that kind of thing, and it could honestly go either way. I hate it when it's like this. I hate it when when it's 0-0 and you're playing well, because the inherent cynicism in me as a Manchester City fan comes in. But look, right now, it's been really good.
And both teams obviously have got so much talent on the bench as well. Looking at our bench for possible changes in the second half, Raheem Sterling has an incredible record against Chelsea. He's scored 3 in the last 5 against them. At what point do you think we might see any changes, Nedum?
I don't know. I think Pep will probably be looking at the side out there and seeing what the sort of fitness levels are like, because to be fair, for a lot of these people, it's still, even though it's game 5 or whatever in the season, for some, like, they didn't have a proper pre-season, all that stuff. So this isn't them at their absolute best. So I think he'll probably be tracking that. And if somebody seems to be struggling because they're coming back from injury, like a Foden or so on, then maybe that's when the change will come. But for now, seeing the way that City are controlling the game, it almost feels like there's no need to make a change unless tactically he wants to do something different. So, well, we say that. We don't have a clue, do we? Because it's Pep. But that's
text Pep, it's fine. It's sorted.
Yeah, that's how we feel. That's how it feels at this moment. But it's good to see those players on the bench. And also, a starting place at Man City is a coveted thing. So if you're sitting on the bench, you want to be a part of it. And sometimes you can earn that by making an impact coming off the bench. So is there a better place right now?
Oh, right, it's a premium place in the starting 11, because you look at the bench and you see Ferran Torres there as well, who's done nothing wrong this year. He's had a great start to the year as well. So if he gets the chance off the bench as well, you're going to feel like he's going to want to take it.
Well, that little drag back earlier that Nedum talked about, and maybe maybe someone like Ferran does have that awareness to drop back a little bit while someone else is making the near post run, because he does have that striker's instinct. He does seem to be able to pull off the shoulder really well and finish. And looking at, like, obviously Grealish, Jesus, Foden, De Bruyne, obviously Jesus was a striker, but I wouldn't say they all have that that same level of awareness where to be in the box. So maybe we do need someone like Ferran Torres on the pitch just to essentially finish those little scuffed half chances that when the ball's going to ricochet loose in the air or something like that. So he's got a chance. But, it could be that Sterling's pace towards the end of the game against an aging Thiago Silva. We won't get into that. No. But basically, that could make a little bit of difference, because obviously Sterling, he's sprightly, he's alive, he's alert, and of course as well, Mahrez could be the game changer. A little bit of quality. Would anyone be surprised if Mahrez came on, cut in, curl it in the far corner? He's very capable. So options. Good.
Yes, options, lots of options, which is always good. Now we've got let's have a look at my watch. Oh, maybe less than 10, maybe 7 minutes until kick-off again. So we do have some questions as well that you have been WhatsApping in for the gents today. So thank you very much if you have sent us a WhatsApp message. You can do that for every game now. It's a nice, exciting thing that we've done this year, so that you get a chance to speak to these guys. So one question came in a lot randomly today. So I'm going to say it's coming from Ollie, but there was quite a few of you that messaged this in.
This is a concern. What did we say? Uh-oh.
Where are you predicting we're going to finish in the league after seeing the first half? Yeah, I know. Loads of people asked it.
Halfway through a chess game, I don't. It's hard to judge that because, well, I just can't answer that. We're a few games into the season. Ask me that again after Liverpool, maybe, and maybe I'll have a stronger opinion. But it's even then, that's early. Early then.
Everything's just so incredibly early.
As a Manchester City fan, I'll always say we're going to win the league. So I've got a reason not to. Especially these days. But I mean, I feel confident. I mean, I don't get how you could watch that 45 minutes as a Manchester City fan, even if it wasn't perfect, but still not remember how good this team is and still not realise the depth of quality we've got. We've got people like Kante and Jorginho and Alonso and Lukaku and Werner chasing Manchester City shadows. That has to count for something. That has to show that sometimes maybe we don't quite realise as a fan base, or just because we're naturally pessimistic because of what we've been through as City fans, but maybe we don't realise just how good we've got it. That is a genuinely world-class team full of high-quality players, and they are giving these world-class players a run around right now. And I know we haven't created all the chances, but they are absolutely incredibly dedicated. They are fantastically gifted. I mean, and I don't get how I could watch that and not have the confidence at the Manchester City to not win the league. I'm not saying we will do, but I have to believe it, because why not?
I love being on with you. Like, that's so passionate, and I totally get it. But the downside is once you hit that panic button, you watch games just through your fingers like this. That's the issue. So you maybe don't see everything that's out there. And I think as a fan base, I think at times, as is probably the case with other teams around the league, you take in your team's weaknesses about the same amount as you take in the opposition's strengths. You know, so you're always thinking, but they're doing this, but they're doing that. But people are going through the same sorts of things. But one thing I would say is that looking at this City team in general and seeing them today, they're more than capable of winning a league. They're more than capable. Because if Chelsea were the best team in the league right now and have put out that performance against Man City, not many teams will play like City have just done in that first 45 minutes. So even whichever way this game goes or whichever way this week goes, City have that within them to be able to play like this, and when they do, for me, they're without a doubt the best team.
This is possibly the first time this season we've seen that collection of players on the pitch that maybe a lot of City fans want to see, you know. And we're just getting going. I mean, we could be in a situation by the mid of November where we played United away, Liverpool away, Chelsea away, Leicester away, and Spurs away already. And if we're in touching distance at the top of then, what have we got to fear? And I don't mean that in an overly emotive sense, but I mean it in a genuine logical sense. I mean, if we are around the top of that point, we have played on paper the hardest games of the season. Obviously, you know, there's always upsets here and there, but like, I don't know. I feel today is so far it's been really, really encouraging because it's exactly what I wanted to see from a collection of players with this much quality. And I'm pointing over there because that's where the lineup is. People don't know what I'm pointing at. But honestly, that's not literally like. But that's what I want to see today, basically.
And that's the way you answer that tough question. Before we give you another a look at Cryptic City, I just want to say, Nedum, that James has WhatsApped in and said though that you are wrong, Nedum, with your team selection because his all-time City Chelsea 11 is. Anua. And just to tell you, I'm going to prove it to you. Look, there's the text.
He did do that.
Not many chances against that team. Or goals. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a game you don't want to see on prime time anyway. Let's say that.
Show a shout out to James for that as well. Right, another look at Cryptic City before the second half begins. How are you getting on with it? Have you started to crack what the pitches are and put them together to work out who the former City player or current City player is? You can tweet us your guess. Use the hashtag #ManCity. Right, we've had a couple of guesses. Katie Louise, Martin Seymour. I can tell you both, you are right. So you both have it right. We are going to tell you who the answer is at full time. So have a look at those pictures. Work out what they are. Put them together to get yourself a former City or current City player. Now, it's going to be kick-off for the second half any minute now. So we will be back at full time with more excellent, passionate, tactical analysis from
that's a new subgenre.
From the Kents, yes. And
passionate. Yes, that's a great show.
That's what you get on Matchday Live. Passionate, tactical analysis. That's going to be our tagline from now on. If you're not watching the game, the teams are coming out now. Get your commentary on the City app. It is the wonderful Ali Mann, and he's alongside Michael Brown to give you the second half. We'll be back at full time, hopefully celebrating a City win.
City.